The second half of the Gege Akutami Q&A from the recent JJK exhibition has just come out, so let's get straight into it. Alright, so if you've been following along, the first half of this Q&A focused on the Gojo versus Suguna fight. The second half here focuses on the Idiot Survivor arc, aka the Takaba versus Kenjaku fight. So all of these questions are centered around that, and we have this information thanks to Lightning, which if you saw my previous videos, you already know, but just in case you didn't, Lightning is an official translator and has even officially translated for Jujutsu Kaisen before. So they themselves went to the event to get this information and translate it for us. There's no photos, there's no handouts or anything, so this all does come secondhand from what Lightning can remember, but they're a very reliable source. Okay, so it looks like we've got 8 questions here, and in the first one, Gege Akutami was asked, just how broken is the comedian curse technique? Couldn't Takaba have literally saved his progress like a video game and then restarted from wherever he wanted to? And Akutami said, well, it's not that broken because Takaba is the one using it, referencing the fact that Takaba doesn't even know he has a curse technique and obviously has no idea what he's capable of with it. Next, Akutami was asked about why he decided to include this Idiot Survivor arc smack dab in the middle of the Shinjuku showdown. And Gege said that he just wanted to go for it. He thought this was a fun idea and he knew it was either going to happen after Higuruma or after Kashimo. This next question is a little hazy, so I don't know if it's the translation or maybe Lightning just not remembering the full context, but Akutami was asked, has Kenjaku always liked comedy, and what was the process for his downfall? And Akutami said, Tengen was never going to be a villain. It was always planned from the start to have Kenjaku get defeated by a comedian. Takaba's character came later, though. So I'm assuming what that answer means is that Tengen was never going to be a combatant or a fighter. I guess maybe the implication was we could have had a Tengen versus Kenjaku fight or something. But instead, Gege said he always wanted Kenjaku to be defeated by a comedian. And then later he developed the role of Takaba, I guess, to fill in that role. Next, Gege was asked about the final stages of the Takaba versus Kenjaku fight, where we saw Takaba really start to doubt himself and his comedy, and we got all of those flashbacks showing Takaba's basically failed career as a comedian and how he was having to look for a new path in life when he never made it. And Gege said that he really just wanted to convey the reality and the sympathy for comedians who have to switch careers midway in their lives. And he talks about how he really studied comedy and went to these different actual comedians' houses to try to learn more about it. And it really just shows that Gege, I guess, really has a deep love and understanding, or at least appreciation for comedy, and was trying to show that nuance in this moment of their fight. Next, Gege was asked why he chose this specific pose for Takaba on his volume cover and whether or not he got permission from Bobobobo, which this is in reference to. And Akutami said that there was just this indescribable feeling back in the day when the Bobobo version of this cover dropped. And so he just wanted to honor that and homage it. And that, yes, he did get permission from them and everyone else that he referenced. Next, Akutami was asked about this moment where Takaba says, I don't want it to end. And Gege said that he just truly didn't want it to end. He loved doing manzai, which is basically the duo comedy in Japan. And next, Gege was asked if Takaba ever learned anything about his curse technique during or after Idiot Survivor. Basically, does he ever get an understanding of what his technique does? And Gege said nothing whatsoever. He only wants to do manzai, the duo comedy. And then finally, Gege was asked, what did Takaba's white robe indicate? Did he actually die there? And Gege said, no, he just couldn't fight anymore. He had lost. He wasn't actually dead. And Gege mentions that he was surprised that so many people misunderstood this and wondered if there was a generation gap in terms of not understanding the reference, I guess. So yeah, that means there was no question about whatever the hell was happening here at the end of the series. So can we please get some better interview questions? Just tag me in, okay? But what I'll say is that we kind of maybe got some light shed on this inadvertently, because Gege said that Takaba still has no idea what his curse technique is, and he only wants to do the duo comedy. He's obsessed with it, right? So to me, that could point toward Takaba having inadvertently brought back Kenjaku with his technique just solely based on his desire to continue doing two-man comedy. I feel like that fits, and I feel like it's either that, meaning Kenjaku was resurrected by him, or, he just hired somebody to look like Kenjaku to try and replace that feeling, which was, basically those two options have always been my thoughts since the end of the series. But The fact that Gege did go out of his way to say that, Takaba still doesn't understand the technique and he only wants to do duo comedy, I feel like he maybe could have inadvertently resurrected Kenjaku. Now, is there any point in diving too much into this? Probably not, unless one day we get a sequel announced, but I thought it was interesting to chew on. So yeah, that should do it for all of the new information from this Jujutsu Kaisen exhibition. So huge shout out to Lightning, the GOAT, for being a reliable source of information when it comes to stuff like this. Really is a lifesaver when it comes to all of the rumors. So barring any small tweaks here, like if Lightning just remembers or decides to go back to get like the exact translations on things, I wouldn't expect anything else to come out of this. I think we now pretty much know everything. So until the next exhibition, which there are going to be 2 more stops next year, where we already know we will be getting new interviews on other fights, we're just going to have to wait till season 3 or the next fan book or whatever else. But as always, y'all, thank you so much for watching.